Hey guys, Jeremiah here, defendyouronlineprivacy.com. We have another FAQ just for you. The question is Apple more or less secure than Android? So it's a battle of the operating systems here, and we're going to get into it. So I know a lot of Apple's advertisements have been really focused and really geared towards the fact that they are the private operating system, that they really have your best interest in mind, and that they're better than the other guys, right? So we need to unpack that a little bit, and we'll get to whether or not that's true momentarily. What we want to do really is start off by talking about who these companies are at the very core from the start. So when you look at it, who is Apple and who is Google? They are the ones who own Android. So who's Google? Who is Apple? Apple, at its very core, is a technology company. They have their own operating systems with macOS and iOS for mobile devices. They have their own devices, but it's all centered on their own sort of ecosystem, so to speak. When it comes to Google, you have to go back to the late 90s to really understand who they are. And they are a search engine. And they have always been a company that has made their money from selling advertisements to people, selling your services to somebody else, right? And so you have to look at that as kind of the core of who they are and really be able to use that to determine where they're going. So the only reason Google has Android is because they bought it as an open source option to oppose Apple. That's really it. They're great when it comes to free services, but here's the problem with free services. If you're not paying for a product, you are the product. They have to make money somehow, right? And so they get all of that data from all of their usage, all their users, and they feed that into their ad network, and they sell your information and the ability to target ads as their product to their advertisers. And so the advertisers buy the ability to target specifically to you because Google knows you so well. Apple, on the other hand, is not. Now, with that being said, does that mean Apple is totally private, totally secure? The answer to that is also no. Absolutely not. So they are the exact same when it comes to Google as far as what they're tracking and how they're tracking it when it comes to your mobile device. Android tracks all of it for Google, and then iOS tracks all of it for Apple. Location, messaging. So if you're using like iMessages, all that stored on Apple servers. All of your calls, all that metadata about what's going on in your devices, what apps you're downloading, what apps you're using, how long you're using your device, what the nature of your device is. Are you mostly using social media applications like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, etc.? Or are you doing more email? Are you doing more web browsing? And so they still store all that information. They store all of your Siri requests, just like Google stores all of your Google Assistant requests. So they are still storing that same data on you that Google is. It's just stored separately. So here's the difference in why Apple claims to be secure and Google doesn't, or Apple claims to be more secure than Google. They don't sell your information, and that's pretty much the core of it. Here's the problem is that both of them, Google and Apple, store all of your data on their servers. Once those servers are available to the internet, which they are because they're all cloud-based services, and all a cloud is somebody else's computer, right? And so if all of your data is stored on somebody else's computer, then it's susceptible to other people. So if I can access my own data on their server, other people can access my data on their server as well. iCloud has been hacked before. It will be hacked again. I can pretty much guarantee you that. So with that being said, is it really that secure and that private? No, because Apple has all that data, and then other people, if they attack Apple's servers, can get that data as well. And that's a whole lot of really personal information that's being exploited and being given to these attackers that's available to them if they attack Apple servers. Same thing with Google, right? So the only difference is that Google sells it and it's susceptible. Apple's, they hold it internally and it's also susceptible. Now, with all that being said, Apple does do a really good job of trying to keep that as private to them as they can. So if you trust Apple, it really is a more private service that you're using, a private system that you're involved in. There have been a lot of tech companies that have been over to government insistence on backdoors in software, backdoors in operating systems, backdoors in devices. And Apple has continually said no, they won't unlock the devices for the government or for law enforcement, where some of the other tech companies will do that. So you have to give them a hand. You have to applaud them for their stance on the fact that your device is your device and that the government can't just come in and take that. That's great. The problem is your data is still available. So at the end of the day, when we're saying, is Apple more secure than Google? The answer is yes, asterisk, since it's all in the iCloud, not really, because it's susceptible. But they are a company that cares more about your privacy than Google is. You are Apple's clients. Advertisers are Google's clients. So that's it. There you go. So if this was interesting to you, if this intrigued you, if you want to know more about how to keep your data private, how to protect yourself and your family online from these big companies, these big data companies, we've got a training for you. Go to defendyouronlineprivacy.com/training, and it's a free training that will give you actionable steps and really practical tools to start taking back your privacy and being able to keep your data as your data and stop presenting it to these other companies for their own amusement, for their own profit. So again, that is defendyouronlineprivacy.com/training. Totally free, ready for you. We'll see you there. And until next time, stay safe, stay private.